everyone, it's Lisa Suarez from Between the Lines Winery. I'm here with owner Greg Wertsch. We're going to be doing a great food and wine pairing for you guys today. We've been doing these off and on through the winter, and now it's spring and it's barbecue season, so we thought, why don't we do this again one more time? So Greg, what are we making today?
So we're making lamb skewers, which is actually one of my favorite meats. I like it a lot because it's very aromatic, works well with a lot of wines, and technically you don't really need a lot of stuff to make lamb taste great. So the skewers are actually really great. We have a couple different ingredients here. We have our little heirloom tomatoes, we've got a sweeter type onion and the red onion, and we've got zucchini, the green one.
The green stuff.
That's right.
He doesn't know green stuff.
Yeah, I just go and pick it off the shelf, right? I'm like, this looks edible, right? But it's the lamb that we're going to be focusing on, and then to actually help a little bit, we're going to put a balsamic glaze on it, and we're going to work with one of my favorite ingredients, which is cumin. Right?
Which is really cool. I love that, and I think that's perfect with the lamb, and it's going to be perfect with the wine that we're going to serve.
That's right.
Before we get into the recipe anymore, I want you to talk about what's happening at the winery. You know, we've been in lockdown now for how many weeks? And we can't come, you guys can't come to us, so we thought one of the reasons why we're doing this is that we want to come to you. But we also want to give you an update. I mean, it is spring, things are moving, things are growing. What's happening?
Well, that's right. We haven't had a chance really to have people come to the winery and enjoy their time down here. We've done a lot of these like online tastings with people, which have been quite fun, where they order the wine and have that at home, and we taste over the, I guess, over a Zoom meeting. For me, I'm looking forward to actually having people back, and we're slowly getting the winery ready. We're preparing a larger outside area as well, where people can come and sit under gazebos. A lot of it is focused on being able to space people out, making things safe, because we all don't know really what the rules are going to be, right? Like we're waiting for announcements as well that are coming in over the news just to see what's happening. But in the meantime, we're not sitting around idle. We're actually doing a lot of work in the building behind us. For example, we're doing canning. We're preparing the fields actually out there. The vines are getting ready to grow.
We've bottled our new reserves that are coming out later this summer.
That's correct.
It's huge.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on actually as well at the winery. Like I said, we're not sitting idle, but at the same time, when the weather's getting nice and we do take a little bit of time to enjoy some of the wine, enjoy some of the food as well. Yeah. And like I said, the lamb skewers, for example, they're great. They're easy to make, and they're.
One thing about the virtual tastings that you were talking about that we offer online right now is that it forces us as winemakers to talk more about food, because when we're going to your house, you know, you're making some snacks for the virtual tasting, and so it kind of forces us to really get into it. So we're really having fun with our pairings now. Not like we haven't done that in the past, but we're putting a little bit more thought into it, and now when we talk about wine, we're also talking about food. So getting into this recipe, I like it because it's simple, and you suggested doing the lamb kebab, and I thought, why not? I think most people can do it. Yeah.
So basically the most important thing is actually the nice cuts of meat here. So in this case, I believe these were shoulders that we cut up. And
had a little bit of a bone in it.
Yes. So the other thing that we're looking at is there's a little way you could tweak it, and if you don't like tomatoes per se, I know there's some people that don't like the acidity, for example, of tomatoes as much. You could go with peppers. You could do like red or the orange bell peppers, for example, that work really great. Also add a little bit of color to it. I always like that about food. I like how the aromas and the colors work together. It's like not unlike wine, you know, because a lot of people pay attention to that stuff in wine in particular as well. So what we're going to do is we cut some of that already, but what we're going to do is we're going to put these together. The most important thing is a lot of people do skewers a little bit more regularly at home, so they might have the stainless steel ones. If you don't want to invest in the stainless steel skewers at home and you want to just run to the supermarkets and grab the wooden ones, there's one thing that we're basically looking at in particular, and that's to make sure that they're soaked. So if you look at this closely, I've actually had these in a water bath for a little bit, just to make sure that they hydrate, so when they go on the barbecue they don't char and burn, because we don't want that
people
burned
forget
aroma.
to do that, and it becomes a candle on the barbecue.
That's right.
The little flame keeps going.
And if you have this much effort into the fresh ingredients and good flavors, you don't really want that burnt part of the, like close to the meat or close to some of the vegetables.
Yeah, I cut the meat up earlier, and I kind of just sat it there with the rosemary. There's nothing on there now. So what are you going to put on it?
So for me, like I said, I want to keep the lamb aroma to the forefront a little bit. So what we're going to look at is just basics. We're going to have a little bit of olive oil, we have salt and pepper, and we have cumin. That is basically what we're going to do.
This is a sea salt. And so what happens with the rosemary when if you sit this overnight with the rosemary, it kind of infuses into the meat. You can also, put olive oil on these stems of rosemary, salt and pepper them just like you did with the meat. And then, and then barbecue them. Because, whenever you roast rosemary, it's so good. It's crunchy and it's savory and it tastes great. It just adds, and then you can just sprinkle that on top of the skewers when they're done. I like that. I like this combination here because of it's just interesting. People understand a balsamic glaze because it's really tangy and sweet, kind of like a barbecue sauce. I think the cumin kind of lifts it a little bit more.
That's right. You can smell it already. Cumin's amazing.
Are you going to do the same thing with the vegetables, with the ingredients, or what do you
I usually, obviously the onions won't need it and the tomatoes won't need it, but you can salt and pepper these guys a little bit.
What about olive oil for the vegetables?
I usually brush it on after.
Okay.
So I actually put the whole thing together and then I drizzle a little bit or brush a little bit of the olive oil on after, and then put the skewers on. Right. So the thing is, you can put these on in any order. Obviously, if someone like my brother would like a little more meat, so he'll go more meat heavy. It might just be a whole row of lamb. But it's a good idea to get a little bit of balance going in here. So what you could do is you could start with one of these as the end stop, right? Basically. What I like to do is I like to mix up the colors, for example, get it all on there. But the most important thing that I like is I like to make sure that I get the onions next to the meat.
So my biggest thing on kebabs, because my husband Jack makes them all the time, but I never put them together. How much onion can you put? Can you put the whole chunk, like the
I like
four
to
layers?
you can, but I like to split it up a little bit.
Okay.
Right, keep it together. Right, you can. Actually, what we do sometimes is we've got the skewers as well, but with beef, and we would have it in the sauce, like shashlik kind of, right? And then you'd actually have little slices of bacon as well in between, right? I mean, Germans do eat a lot of meat, I guess, right? Mostly, I guess.
Well, your kids do. That's all they eat meat. Okay, so let's put some skewers together, and we'll come back before we start to barbecue. Okay, Greg, so we're almost done getting them all together. I'm a little slower than you are. You're pretty fast. Now, tell me a little bit about what kind of meat you use on this. This has a little bit of fat on there. Is that good?
That's right. Well, for me personally, I don't mind the fat. But I know there's a lot of people that do like to trim it away, and that's a little bit, I guess, of a personal choice. I think the fat actually makes sure that the meat stays a little bit more tender, stays a little bit more juicy.
Juicy, right?
That's right. But if you do want to trim a little bit of it away, you can definitely do that. You could do it after you barbecue, right? And cut it off after the fact. I guess with the skewers that doesn't work as well. So what I do usually for this, I try to use a shoulder. Works the best. I like that kind of meat.
I think this was a shank. It had a little tiny bone I had to cut around it, but it still had a little bit of the fat in there as well.
Yep.
Okay, so they're all put together. Do we do anything with them? Do we put olive oil? What do we do right now?
So what we're going to do is we're just going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil on it, right? And it'll just help make sure this guy stays nice and moist. There you go.
Okay. And the salt and pepper for the vegetables, or no?
No, we can do a little bit more. I just like to get a little bit more salt and pepper and the cumin on the meat per se, and then we can salt and pepper the rest of it after. Right.
So the barbecue, how do you prepare it? What's the temperature? How?
So I've had the barbecue going in the background a little bit. I'm looking at about 210, 220 right now. Usually what I do is I like to get it seared first. And then just do the one. I've got my own little technique. Everyone's proud of their own barbecue in the backyard. They have their technique. So what I usually try to do is I try to sear one side, flip it, sear the other side, and then let it cook through. and then go back from the other side. So
I would say for most people, it would be, 2 kabobs. Can plan that way for each person. And what's great about kabobs, it's like all you need is maybe a side salad or just some rice, and then your meal is done because it's all on the stick.
that's right.
It's awesome that way. Okay, so let's go to the barbecue and let's get this going.
There you go. I'll just stir this for about a minute or so.
So just keep it going here. Maybe we'll have wine because that's your other utensil.
That's right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're drinking Lemberger today. It's the 2017.
It's amazing stuff. I just like this grape variety. For me, I think it does. It's probably one of the best reds that we grow on our farm here. I like the aroma, I like the smell, I like the flavor. It's got a lot of that cranberry, it's got some earthiness to it. It's got pepper, for example, which is going to work great with the meats, and it'll do fantastic.
One of the best things about a May like we're having this year is that we can be out in the barbecue already, which I'm sure a ton of people are already doing, especially in lockdown. I mean, I keep talking about lockdown, but that's the reality where we're in, and people are enjoying their backyards, and they're now barbecuing a lot more. And this is a great way to do it. I mean, what we'd like to do is send you lots of information about food and wine pairings. So it gives you some idea what you can do on a Friday night with your family or
That's correct. So I'm actually doing a lot of this with my boys right now. Right? So they're getting older now, 5 and 8. They're really getting interested in how to do some of this sort of stuff, which is fun. But the thing that we're all technically waiting for is to get that. Be able to match another household, so that we're able to sit together with our closest friends at least, and even if we have to be outside and still distance and all that sort of stuff, but be able to have a conversation and see one of your friends again. That's what I'm looking for. And then have a nice glass of wine, some good food, and then hopefully as we get more and more vaccinated and these case rates drop and all that sort of stuff, then we'll be able to go back to some sort of normal.
Yeah, a really cool thing that happened this month was that our staff was able to get vaccinated, and we consider ourselves all in the same pod. A lot of them work in the vineyards and in retail, so it's been a good thing. It's been really positive for us, and we're looking forward to the future because we're ready to get back to tastings here in Niagara, and I know the rest of Ontario is too. So we're looking forward to that. And some of this kind of stuff, outdoor, wine tastings, outdoor pairings, will be happening. That's going to be a big part of our summer.
Well, for sure. The phones are pretty much, even though we're still in lockdown, we have a lot of people that are calling that want to know sort of when we're opening and what's happening. Biggest problem for us is we don't know either, right? We have to wait for the announcements coming in. So, but like I said, we're preparing because we think it's going to be busy. And the thing that we definitely want to do is make sure that people that do come to Between the Lines have a great time down here and they're safe, right? We want to make sure that they keep coming back in all the years to come and just remember this place and have a fun time. Yeah. This is what we're looking for. Remember the wines.
Remember the wines. So I'm going to put together some more skewers because we have more meat, and we'll look at them when they're done. So what's next?
Well, I'm getting ready to check on these guys. So one thing you'll notice is that smell. So we put the rosemary on top. It's amazing. It adds just a little bit more aroma in the mix, I guess, around the meat. So these guys are actually looking pretty good. So they're starting to get nicely, like sort of seared from all the sides. The meat's still soft. Tomatoes are keeping on there, right? Even the fat's getting a nice little crisp on it.
So what's the goal before the glaze? You want them to get a little bit of char or a little bit of crisp?
Yeah, I love the flavor of just this charred crisp meat, and I find if I have the glaze on top, then the glaze gets it because of the sweetness of it, right? So, but the meat underneath doesn't get it quite as much. Okay. So I actually hold off on the glaze a little bit until I get this going. Then I'll put it on and sort of moisturizes the outside a little bit as well. And I'm able to last just a little bit longer on here. We obviously don't want to overdo it. You don't want the meat to get too dry, right? So you can actually, usually, I like to have the lamb sort of medium,
me too.
at most. Nothing better than barbecuing.
I know, this is my favorite spot, next to the barbecue, watching someone do it.
Yeah. Well, and then obviously everyone thinks we're living the dream out here too,
because it's wine country.
It is wine country.
It's wine
the vineyards
country.
are beautiful out here. You can hear the birds in the background.
I know.
Tourists driving right out front. That's just beautiful.
Yannick working in the cellar.
That's right.
He's a good barbecuer too. He did a lot of our smoking this winter. We saw a lot of his recipes come through. So what are your go-to for the barbecue? Other than hamburgers and sausages, what are your go-to?
Well, I actually, you know what? I don't mind a little bit of spice sometimes in what I barbecue, but I'm struggling. I'm trying to get the little guys up to enjoy a little bit of spice as well.
Greg has 2 little boys.
I'm working on it. Right? I mean, they're young and they're getting more comfortable with it, but I'm mostly lamb and I like beef.
We've been in it about, 4 minutes now? Maybe 5 minutes? How much?
Usually what we do is about 3.5 minutes from each side. The most important thing is really the temperature, the internal temperature of the meat then. Because we don't have like one big piece and it's all sort of chopped up. We don't need quite the time as a larger piece would take. So we're going to be ready to take one of these off and just give it a little cut just to see what the meat's like. But I think we're getting pretty close to ready. I think these guys are done.
Okay, so we're going to pick them up and we'll meet you back at the table.
What we'll do is, I'll just take one of these, right? Just slide everything right off.
They're smelling fantastic.
They do smell fantastic.
And the tomato is pretty much intact.
Yep. Well, the skin's a little soft, right?
Good.
But it is. We don't want it overdone.
Right.
Right. Nope. There you go. Awesome. That one's a little squished.
Okay, so we just de-skewered. So we just took them off the skewers. They look fantastic.
They do look fantastic.
Okay, so what are we expecting now with this pairing? So we have Lemberger in our glass.
Yep.
And
we got this balsamic glazed lamb. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm a big sucker for the onions. I might almost start with a combo of onion and meat.
I like this recipe because it's very simple ingredients. We have cumin, balsamic glaze, salt and pepper, and the vegetables. And that's basically all we did. Anybody can do this, and you can do it not just with lamb, you can do it with chicken, you can do it with pork, and you can do it with beef. I think all of those ingredients will work well with all those types of meat, right?
That's correct. I think we should just try it.
Okay, let's do it.
Go ahead, give it a shot. I might not have done the best shot here at cutting this.
I'm going to try the lamb. You go for the onion. I can't believe you're going for the vegetable before I go.
Is onion a vegetable?
Mm-hmm.
That is good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to talk.
It's perfect. I like when it works out. It's amazing.
I love the cumin. The cumin's just like a slight little hint of it, especially with the juices of the lamb.
Yep. See, my big thing is, like, I know a lot of people like to usually cover or soak their stuff in salt and pepper. If you do feel like using salt, I find it just sucks a lot of the moisture out of the meat.
Yeah.
You can definitely touch it up a little bit after, if you do want a little bit more. The cumin flavor is definitely there. Pepper's there. If you do want just a little bit more salt, you can definitely try that. I think it might actually make the meat pop just a little bit more.
Yeah, these are nice big chunks of lamb too. So I would suggest one to two skewers per person max. And then, I mean, look at it. It's a party on a plate right now. It's just beautiful. I hope you guys like this recipe. This is one of our favorites here. And now it's going to be our new, like, top of the list favorite, I think. So from Between the Lines Winery, we really hope that you'll try this recipe and let us know how it works for you.
Yeah. Now you will get a chance to see you back down here. Cheers.
Cheers.